Today we present Sister Affection, a story designed to enhance your English skills through engaging storytelling. Listen carefully, follow along, and participate by answering the questions in the comments. Let's learn and grow together, one story at a time. Sisterly Affection. Chapter 1. Marcia first crossed paths with Howard Collins at church. At 35, she was younger than Howard, who was 41. He resided with his mother in a modest house located on the town's south side, while Marcia lived with her father, George Grant, and her sister, Karin, just 3 streets away in an apartment. Marcia didn't have a job. Her father's health was poor, keeping him confined to his bed most of the day and requiring constant companionship. This responsibility meant that Marcia was often home, venturing out only when her sister was available to stay with their father. The sisters had strikingly different appearances and lifestyles. Marcia was petite, with a round face framed by short black hair. In contrast, her younger sister Karin, 10 years her junior, was tall, had long brown hair, and often sported a sun-kissed glow from summer outings. People frequently commented on Karin's beauty, eliciting remarks like, "Your sister is very pretty." As Marcia remained at home, Karin worked in a local shop, and during her downtime, she enjoyed relaxing on the roof garden of their apartment building. It was one sunny Sunday in May when Marcia brought Howard home for the first time. She introduced him to her father, who was in bed, showing signs of his illness with his graying hair and pale complexion. Although he occasionally picked up a book to read, he mostly preferred to watch television. "This is Howard, father," Marcia said. "He works at the hospital and we met at church. I told you about him last week. Do you remember?" "No," her father said, and he turned his face away, back to his television. He was not interested in new people or his daughter's friends. Just then, Karin came into the room. She wore a white bikini and white shoes. She smiled at Howard. "So you're Howard," she said. "My big sister has got a boyfriend at last." Howard's face went red, and he looked down at his feet. Karin laughed. "Come on up to the roof garden and have some wine. The sun is wonderful this morning." "Oh, Howard began. Marcia looked angrily at her sister, but then she said, "Yes, I must get father a drink. See you in a minute, Howard. Go up to the roof and talk to Karin." The sun was hot on the roof, and Howard took off his coat. He looked around. There were 3 chairs, a sun umbrella, a sunbed, and a table with 3 glasses and a bottle of wine on it. There were tiles on the floor, and next to the little wall around the edge of the roof, there were some flowers in boxes. This was the garden. "Very nice," said Howard. Karin smiled at him. Howard looked around. "Very nice," he said. "We don't see any good-looking men up here," she said. "Sit down and have a drink." Howard's face went red again. He gave a shy little laugh. "Oh, thank you," he said. He tried not to look at Karin's long suntanned legs, but it was not easy. "I come up here all the time when it's sunny," Karin said. She began to put suntan oil on her arms and legs. Howard watched. Then Marcia arrived, and the 3 of them sat in the sun and drank wine. Marcia looked at Howard with love in her eyes. She did not look at Karin. Karin watched them. Her eyes went from her sister to Howard and back again to her sister. She smiled. It was not a nice smile. Chapter 2. Every Sunday morning after that, Marcia brought Howard home for a glass of wine after church. Howard stopped his car in the street outside the apartment building, and Marcia said, "Sound the horn, Howard. Tell Karin we're here, then she can get the wine ready." So Howard gave 3 little toots on his car horn. On sunny days, Karin always came to the wall at the edge of the roof and looked over to wave at them. Then she went to get the wine. She always wore her bikini or a very short skirt. Marcia never wore short skirts or a bikini. "My legs are too fat for bikinis," she told Howard. "Your legs are. Very nice," he said shyly. One day in June, Karin asked Howard, "What time do you finish work, Howard?" "About 6 o'clock," he said. "Could you bring me home after work?" Karin said. "My shop's very near the hospital. You drive right past it, and you only live 3 streets away from us." "There's a very good bus," said Marcia quickly. "It stops outside our building." "But the bus is so slow," Karin said. "Please, Howard." Howard looked from one sister to the other. "Oh, well, or yes. All right then," he said. "Thank you," Karin said and gave him a quick kiss. So every evening, Howard drove Karin home. On the first Friday, they were an hour late. When they arrived, Marcia was at the door of the apartment building. "What happened?" she asked. "Why are you so late?" "There was an accident," Karin said. 3 cars all across the road, on that hill by the cinema, you know. We couldn't get past, we couldn't go back. There were so many cars. Nobody could move." Howard said nothing. It was a long, hot summer that year. Marcia went to church every Sunday morning, and Karin stayed at home with her father. When it was sunny, and it often was, Karin went up to her sunbed on the roof. When Marcia went up to the roof garden, she always sat under the umbrella. But Karin put on lots of suntan oil and sat in the sun in her bikini. "The hot sun's not good for your body," Marcia said. Karin laughed. "Howard likes my body." "No, he doesn't," Marcia said angrily. "Oh, he does," Karin said. "He's very shy with women, but he always looks at my body very carefully. He does it all the time. Perhaps he wants me to take off." "Stop it, Karin," Marcia said. "Don't say those things." Karin laughed. "What's the matter, big sister? Are you afraid I'm going to take him from you?" Marcia did not answer. Chapter 3. The next Sunday, Howard phoned Marcia early in the morning. I don't feel very well," he said. "I'm not going to church today." "My love, I'm sorry," Marcia said. "Can I phone you when I get home?" "Yes, of course. Maman, he said. "I can't phone before 1 o'clock," Marcia said. "I'm going to be late back because there's a meeting after church. Something about Africa, I think." "Oh, yes, I remember," Howard said. But Marcia was wrong. There was no meeting after church that morning. It was the next Sunday. So she left church at the usual time and arrived home at 11:45. First, she went in to see her father, but he was asleep. Then she phoned Howard, but there was no answer. "Perhaps he's sleeping," she thought, "and his mother doesn't want to answer the phone." She went to her room and put on a long summer skirt. Then she went up to the roof garden. She put her hand on the door to the roof and stopped. The door was half open and she could hear voices. There was someone with Karin. A man. "Howard. Howard?" Marcia listened. Marcia could hear voices. I feel bad about this, Howard said. We must tell Marcia soon, Karin. No, Karin said quickly. She gave a little laugh. It's our secret, Howard. Only for a little longer. All right? I don't like, he began. But you do love me, Howard, Karin said. Not Marcia? Say you love me, please. Marcia suddenly felt cold. You know I do, Howard answered. But, Karin kissed him. It's our little secret. Oh, is your car outside, my love? We don't want Marcia to see it. I didn't bring my car, Howard said. I walked here. Good, Karin said. But it's getting late. You must go before she comes home. They kissed again. See you tomorrow. Usual time, usual place, said Karin. Now go. Marcia moved quickly and quietly away from the roof door and ran to her bedroom. She did not want Howard or Karin to see her. She heard their voices. Then the front door of the apartment opened and closed. Howard was gone. Marcia sat on her bed for an hour. Why, she thought. Why does she do it? I stay at home with an old man all the time. I can't go out to work. I can't make new friends. I can't meet new people. I go shopping once a week, and I go to church once a week. That's all. And then I met Howard. When he said, I love you, I was so happy. And now? Karin had everything. Good looks, a job, friends. She was young, she was beautiful, and she could have any man. So why Howard? Why? It's not because she wants him, Marcia thought. It's because love him. It's because she doesn't want me to be happy. But you do love me, Howard, not Marcia. You know I do. Was it true? Did Howard love Karin and not her? No. He saw only the beautiful suntanned body. He didn't know her. She's not going to have him, Marcia thought. Chapter 4. Every evening that week, Howard drove Karin home after work, and every evening they got later and later. The next Sunday, Marcia didn't go to church. I've got a bad head, she told Karin. I just phoned Howard and told him, and he's coming here after church as usual. I'm going back to sleep for an hour or two. And she went into her bedroom and shut the door. Later in the morning, when Karin was with their father, Marcia went up to the roof garden. Karin's bottle of suntan oil was on the table, and Marcia smiled when Karin came up to the roof. Marcia with in her chair, under the umbrella, with a book in her hand. Oh, is your head better? Karin asked. Yes, thanks, Marcia said. Karin wore her bikini, a new yellow one. She opened her bottle of suntan oil. Karin was enjoying a relaxing day when she opened her bottle of suntan oil. Oh, there's not much left, she remarked, realizing she needed to stock up. She began applying the oil to her legs, soaking in the sun. Meanwhile, Howard pulled up in his car below, signaling with his familiar 3 honks of the horn. He's here, Karin exclaimed, excitement in her voice. Your man's here, big sister, she joked, eliciting a smirk from Marcia, who thought, yes, my man, not yours, Karin. Karin couldn't contain her enthusiasm. She jumped up from her sunbed and ran to the edge of the rooftop to spot Howard. Unfortunately, her bare feet lost traction on the slippery surface as she approached the wall. Ah, she cried, instinctively reaching out to grip the ledge. Sadly, The top of the wall was just as slick, and her hands slipped away. In a heart-stopping moment, Karin tumbled over the edge, her body following suit as she fell. Down, down. Before she reached the ground, the realization hit her. Slippery. Suntan oil. Marcia. Thank you for watching this dramatic story on my YouTube channel. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to share more stories with you.